I'm so nervous I'm gonna drown here because of the way it's positioned. But anyway, hi guys, it is St.Nektarios or Mariah. I chose this location because there are turtles behind me, and I really love turtles. Anyway, a lot of you guys have been like probably wondering why I'm in a wheelchair when I can kind of walk. And this is a story of why. So this story goes back actually 3 years, like a span of over 3 years. I have epilepsy. I have severe focal epilepsy that is now considered drug resistant, and I have dysautonomia. POTS actually. From that branch. Those two do not intermingle well, and I also have a tumor now, been discovered since I want to say 2024, December. So I remember going into status epilepticus, which is you have a bunch of seizures and then you about die, and then you go to the hospital for it. That's what happened to me. I was given a medication called Dilantin to help bring me out of those seizures when I was brought to the ICU. Those medications, mixed with a few others, lowered the bone density in my legs severely. So after I got out of the ICU, that medication was continued to be prescribed to me. I took it over a span of, I want to say, 2 months, until my neurologist told me, no, don't take this. It's not going to help you. But after that, my dysautonomia started to take a decline because I can't move, get out of bed without passing out, and being extremely tired, because that's what the medication did to me. It made me extremely tired, and my legs started to physically become weaker. You could see my bones, start to see my bones, even worse than you do now. Mixed with that, I was not doing very well. So my mother and I went to my cardiologist. My cardiologist is like, yeah, you need to be moving. But it wasn't really helping that I couldn't move at the time. So long story short, my neurologist agreed to prescribe me a wheelchair. It wasn't this wheelchair. This wheelchair has been upgraded. That wheelchair was degraded and upgraded to this one. I was gonna use it I remember just using it for dysautonomia purposes at the time, and for my seizures, because those seizures left me physically weaker, and my legs, I couldn't walk more than 5 feet without fainting, or hitting my head, or having a seizure. So after a while, I became closer to my boyfriend. I lived with him for a period of time. At the time, I could not walk at all at that point. I continued to deteriorate. My legs became horribly atrophied. I could only do what are called at this point transfers, which means you basically just slide out of a wheelchair to go to another chair or a bed or a toilet, whatnot, or else I'd fall. I would physically fall, literally fall, and hurt myself even worse. So I was just diagnosed with a neuromuscular condition, basically saying the bone density in my legs was messed up to the point I couldn't walk. At this time, all hope was being lost. I was thinking I was going to be in a wheelchair forever. It was a very serious consideration from everyone's ends, the doctors, my friends, my boyfriend, until I joined a church. I joined the Greek Orthodox church, where I was able to move a little bit. I continued to move. I wanted to move my body in the worst way. I was off Dilantin, that medication, for about a year now when that started to happen. My dysautonomia became worse, and a tumor was discovered in me, but my faith was still there. Faith that I'd be able to walk again. And I guess Jesus wanted it to happen too, because there was a moment, I remember coming to visit my parents in this neighborhood like I am in now, where there's turtles. I had this moment where I visited my parents. I remember I kept on thinking that I was going to be able to walk one day. Kept on feeling the urge. I don't know where I was coming from, because at this point I lost all hope. Pretty much given up at that point. I had a patron saint I picked out before I got baptized. If you guys don't know, a patron saint in Orthodoxy is a saint that will intercede for you, or that you name yourself after because of some specific personality traits that they have. The saint I chose, St.Nektarios. St.Nektarios in Greek. He was known for healing people, epilepsy, various other conditions. So I chose him. News came around after about a year that I was going to become baptized. So I already had picked his name out. I picked out what my name was going to be after him, Nektaria, female version of Nektarios, if you guys are wondering, if you guys are curious. I started attending church the most I have ever been. I remember getting so ecstatic and, messaging the friends, telling my boyfriend, we're going to go to church today, you have no choice, we're going to the church, I don't care. Most of my friends are members of the choir there, so they had no choice anyway. So, although I was physically weakened, spiritually I wasn't weak. I felt like I was growing. So I remember just having all these thoughts that I wouldn't have prior to this, thinking I'm going to walk, it's going to happen, one way or the other. So long story short, I come to visit my parents in March of 2025. My wheelchair I was using at the time was like 20 inches wide or 20 feet wide, so it was quite annoying to navigate in my parents' home because I kept on bumping into walls with it. My mother was saying, this is horrible, what happened to your legs? Because I hadn't seen them in a while at this point. But she understood the gravity, but I was asleep in bed. I remember having to go to the bathroom. The wheelchair was annoying to navigate, so I just crawled around the floor till I got to the bathroom. Used the bathroom while I was crawling, after I crawled over there. After that, all of a sudden, it's like I started to feel reverence towards St.Nektarios for helping me along this journey, for giving me confidence and hope, and for growing my spirituality and helping me, become seizure-free, for even though it was 2 weeks at the time, that felt huge. For someone with drug-resistant epilepsy, having seizures every day. So I remember just feeling a huge sense of reverence, and then all of a sudden it's like, I stood up. I saw a bunch of stars around me, warm stars, and there's another, I knew that meant something. I've had experiences like this before, so, and it's like, I stood up after I thought about that, after I was crying almost in tears. It's like, all of a sudden I heard something, or felt something. I didn't feel like mentally or something. It's like I felt something telling me to get up. And so I did. I stood up. I remember thinking to myself, is this real? I took my first few steps that night. Everything was warm and glowy and hazy feeling, but I took my first steps at 3 in the morning in March of 2025. I just was in disbelief. I was very wobbly, so I held onto the bathroom counter. I texted my friends and my boyfriend around 6 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. I was in so much disbelief over what happened. I'm like, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? My friend was in the choir was telling me, don't overthink it. This is a gift from God. So you know what? I didn't overthink it. I went back to my boyfriend's house the next day in shock. He was in shock. He saw me take my first few steps as well at his place. I'm like, hey, do you want to see a trick? And he's like, no, please don't do it. Oh gosh, no. But I did it anyway. It shocked him. I could take my first few steps. I could walk a little bit. He's like, wow. Just with his jaw dropped. He's like, St.Nektarios really interceded for you. I'm like, yes, and I think my body's also been slowly healing from all the medications I was on for seizures, unfortunately. So I had happened to get a walker from one of the hospitals I had, one of the hospital trips I had. We go outside with this, of course. In his front yard, I used the walker. I was still weak at the time, but him and I were just like, so this is it. So this is it. This is what you look like now. It's been over, I want to say 2 years at this point since I've taken some steps. So I was at rock bottom, complete zero, hopeless before, just thinking this is the end of it. At that time though, I just felt like I need to go to church more. I'm like, my faith has just increased. I'm like skyrocketed all the way up. I'm like, I feel like I need to give thanks to the Lord. I feel like not just in my heart, but by going there physically, by going to experience the Lord physically and spiritually, visiting the mother's church. So one of these days before I got baptized, before the news came out that I was going to be baptized, it was my dream to walk up to my patron saint's altar where his relics are. It was my dream for over a year and a half. I just want to say a little less than a year and a half at this point because my timelines get all mixed up. It was my dream to walk up to that altar, venerate his icons since the moment I got there, and I hadn't had the chance to. I always had to have to look at it from a distance, or have my boyfriend or one of my friends just lift the wheelchair up there, and it wasn't always the best experience being lifted, that wheelchair, but I was finally able to do it. I was finally able to say thank you to St.Nektarios, kiss his relics. My friend recorded the whole process, my boyfriend using the gate bell to help me walk up there just in case I fell. But after this, I felt unstoppable. It's like, wow. So we practiced walking a little bit each. I practiced walking a little bit each day. Pretty much all that was holding me back now from walking all the way is I have a ganglion neuroma tumor. It's a rare tumor in my pelvic region. I can't walk long distances per se without my spine feeling like it's been crushed, my leg going numb, right leg going numb, my abdomen just crunching in on me, squeezing, and it's really painful kind of stuff. But every day I just say thank you to the Lord. Thank you, God. I don't feel like I would have gotten this far. I think I would have given up actually on the fact that I have a possibility of having full mobility back for the most part. If it wasn't for St.Nektarios, if it wasn't for church, if it wasn't for Jesus, if it wasn't for the Theotokos. My friends, my boyfriend, my parents. I remember my mom looking at me for the first time in a while, just saying, wow, your legs, they're not the greatest. Look how atrophied they are. She had to help me out with quite a lot when I came back to visit them in March of 2025. But they keep on telling me you're a living testament to how the Holy Spirit can work its way through you in grace and God's mercy. And I don't think I'm the reason why everything happens. I don't think I'm the reason why I'm a living testament. I think something happened to me, yeah, it's great, but I don't think I'm the whole reason why God has mercy towards people. Like, everyone, my boyfriend's like, you're the only reason. He's like, one time, so you're like, yeah, I saw God in you. Like, okay. I'm like, okay, you saw God in me that day. He's like, I saw God work wonders through you. I'm like, yeah, I felt it. I felt him as well. So I felt extreme reverence. I still do. My faith has expanded in ways that I can't even measure out. I see the world through I see the world through a new perspective, I guess. The day I got baptized, I was actually able to stand up to a degree, so that felt good. I changed into the white dress my sister had helped me pick out to, you know, actually signify that I was pure, that I was reborn, that there's light in me now. I was just in awe. I can't even put everything into words about how much grace and happiness was flowing through me. There's a lot of pictures that prove it, but I think that I was the happiest. I still am the happiest, knowing that God's mercy, He helped me. Just God's mercy and grace flowed right through me that day. But pretty much the only reason why I'm stuck in a wheelchair currently is just tumor, as I've mentioned. But I don't have anything to complain about. I was stuck over, I want to say, 2 years of not being able to walk. So that's better. That's better than anything that I've ever experienced. I was just so low, about to give up, saying I will never be able to walk again. I'm confined to this little wheelchair thing. So now being able to say, look at me, I can walk. My boyfriend and I can go on dates with me being able to walk sometimes. I can experience a sense of normalcy to where I was before I wasn't able to walk. I can feel reverence, the need to pray every day, the need to say thank you to the Lord and thank you to my patron saint. The need to be more thankful in life, never take anything for granted. Because it truly was an amazing, indescribable feeling I had just being able to take my first steps onto that altar. I still at times wonder what compelled me to just stand up out of nowhere. I'm like, don't question it. I'm not gonna question it. I think it was just another gift physically manifested to me through God. I just think about that moment consistently, constantly. I don't have to give up, knowing that God is always there. Knowing that my patron saint's always there looking out for me, knowing that my guardian angel is always going to be there. And I tell people this experience that I had as to how I wasn't able to walk, to just not being able to take short steps. I'm like, well, there's the medical aspect of this, then there's the what actually happened. Why I just stood up and why I'm able to do now. The medicines finally, I guess, kind of worked their way out of my system and made my legs not atrophied as much. I think that was the medical aspect. Those medications finally got out of my body. My muscles and my legs and my bones just built back up again. But then what I truly attribute to this, about 80% of this was the spiritual level. Because even if there was a medical aspect to this, in which there is, I don't think I would have ever believed that I could walk. I think I would have still bought into I can't walk. I think I truly would have still bought into or believed I can't walk, there's no hope for me. But now that my confidence has been boosted through God and my faith has just gone all the way up there now, I just still want to keep the faith. Every time I feel like there's no hope in my life, in the world, I just think I was able to walk. Every time I wake up, every time there's no hope in me, I woke up. I can walk. There's turtles in the pond because I really like turtles. A lot more turtles have actually gone to that pond since I started recording this. God's gifts are truly everywhere in this world. I think what happened to me was a miracle. I think I continually want to go to church, want to pray, want to learn every day about saints, want to endlessly praise my patron saint, because like after I picked out him to be my patron saint, after I picked out my name that was named after him, it seemed like everything just exploded and boomed, took a turn from the right, left to right. But anyway, I don't know if I did a great job at explaining that, but I just know that this happened to me. This is real. To this day, actually, Psalm 135 has become my favorite chant or hymn to listen to. For his mercy endureth.